Hey, 49ers faithful, we're back with an exclusive video bringing you the latest updates on our beloved San Francisco 49ers. Before we jump in, make sure to subscribe to 49ers Zone and hit that like button. This way, you'll never miss any breaking news or exciting updates about the Niners. To say the San Francisco 49ers had a remarkable day. I started out thinking we'd get some good news, maybe 2 positive updates, but that quickly turned into 3 and then 4 great developments. We're now in the middle of a wave of excellent news, and I'm excited to share it all. There's a lot to talk about today, starting with a key update. The 49ers quickly moved to address a clear need at offensive tackle for the 2025 season, which became urgent after a player departure. We lost a swing tackle and needed a replacement, so the 49ers signed a new player with previous experience on other NFL teams. He brings valuable experience to the table. This player started 2 games last season and spent the rest of his career with a divisional rival of the 49ers after being selected in the first round of the 2015 NFL Draft. Since then, the 6'5" tackle has started 100 games and was named to the Pro Bowl in 2021. That's what really matters, experience. And that should be the focus of this signing because it brings a reliable perspective to the position. We don't need to stress over grades or pros and cons here. We brought in someone who's proven himself, and that's exactly what we need in a backup tackle. Someone who can compete for a spot but also support the team. The fact that he's played extensively within the division gives him an advantage. And the 49ers will surely try to capitalize on that before the regular season begins. Moving on, there are other key figures in today's story. One of them I've already mentioned before, so I won't go into much detail again. But I do believe the decision to keep this player on the roster for the long term is impressive. It'll depend on how long he can continue playing, but the contract extension is meaningful. It's great to see him re-signing. There's been talk about this acquisition, noting that in his first year he was a pick with potential. We had hopes, but no one predicted he'd become the player he is today. His leadership, his passion for the sport, and for his teammates, those are truly rare. He represents the team in an exceptional way on the field, and he's a fantastic ambassador off of it, showing pride in his role and real commitment to being one of the best in the league. It's safe to say he's at the top of his position. The contract is done, and that's what matters most. There's a great deal of pride in his role, and he has worked tirelessly to become one of the NFL's top tight ends. You could argue he's the best tight end in the NFL, and there's nothing wrong with making that claim. The contract is signed and sealed, but that's not even the main point. There's a genuine excitement surrounding this moment. This perfectly reflects what I mentioned earlier when I was just waking up and talking about the team securing a player for 4 more years with an extension. But they have an athlete with a wide skill set who brings enormous value to the organization. He's not just a great tight end, he's a phenomenal teammate and a respected leader. There's a lot to appreciate here. So yes, there's a strong buzz about this. George Kittle's Pro Football Focus grades rank him first among qualified tight ends in almost every season since 2018. First, third, second, tied for second, first, and first again. How impressive is that for a tight end? No disrespect to others, but George Kittle truly stands out on the field. Drafted in the 5th round back in 2017, he was the 9th tight end selected that year. Now, at age 31, he signed a significant extension and is likely to retire as one of the greatest players in San Francisco for 49ers history. He's the perfect example for every player who just got drafted. It's not about where you're picked, but what you do once you arrive. We have many examples of that, including Fred Warner. He may not be mentioned as often, but he's definitely important. Was he a 3rd round pick or a 5th? I might be mixing it up, but either way, the point stands. Now, speaking of the highest paid tight ends in football, George Kittle currently leads the list just ahead of Trey McBride. Not by $1, of course, but closer to $100,000. Still, you get the idea. He's the highest paid tight end, and it's more than deserved. In other news, both Brock Purdy and George Kittle have been mentioned in this conversation. That shift may be linked to the fact that Brock Purdy's contract situation has now become a priority. Reports indicate the team will likely turn its focus to finalizing a deal with Purdy now that Kittle's contract is settled. There's some uncertainty about the relevance of this information, but it's worth noting in case it turns out to be important. Sources suggest the team has shifted its attention in this direction. While the source isn't fully clear, the fact that there's movement makes this newsworthy. Better to acknowledge it than ignore it and be wrong. Either way, Purdy seems to be in a good position for a new deal. Multiple reports now point to the team redirecting its efforts toward finalizing that extension. On to the next topic. There's still plenty to cover. A recent analysis from Niners Noise discusses an NFL.com ranking following the draft. The team appears to be trending upward. There's still a long way to go, of course, but NFL.com highlighted the 49ers' progress post-draft, saying they did what was necessary to improve a roster that had taken hits in free agency. The team used its first 5 picks on the defensive side before turning its attention to offense on day 3. That wasn't surprising given the roster depth had thinned out. Mike Williams could prove to be a solid pick over time, and players like Alfred Collins and CJ West are expected to compete for snaps on the interior. Time will tell whether the 49ers addressed enough needs this offseason, but it seems like they managed their resources wisely. Prior to the draft, one analyst placed the team at 18th in the NFL's power rankings, a common position following a rough season. These rankings reflect the team's past struggles, not just the quality of its current roster. However, when you factor in a favorable schedule, it adds what happens during a disappointing season often sticks with a team. You don't just look at the roster and declare it better than 18th. The context of a down year is always considered. Still, this is just my personal opinion, but when factoring in the upcoming schedule, major coaching staff changes, especially on special teams and the defensive coordinator spot, and improvements through the draft, like run-stopping ability, and replacing underperformers, it's fair to say there's a lot of potential here. There's definitely reason for optimism. So yes, calling the 49ers average is fair. They underperformed last season. If you want to label them a mid-tier team, fine. But I see the 49ers as trending upward, and at least one analyst agrees. Meanwhile, not all media outlets share that optimism. Some have doubts. Harsh draft grades, like a D given to the 49ers, show critics weren't impressed with how the team addressed its offensive line needs. Clearly, those assessments didn't account for the latest updates about how the 49ers are filling their depth at tackle. Interestingly, one respected analyst praised the 49ers draft, mentioning only 4 teams, San Francisco among them. That's significant, because when a respected voice highlights your work, it carries more weight than casual opinions. The 49ers brought in 11 new players during the 2025 NFL Draft, and this analyst acknowledged the team's effort to improve during the 3-day event. To do that, the team used 3 of its picks on defensive linemen, including those we discussed earlier. He listed 4 teams with particularly strong drafts: the Chargers, Seahawks, Bears, and 49ers, saying these teams met needs and found value throughout the process. But there's still one more piece of good news. The 49ers are projected to receive 3 compensatory picks on day 3 of the 2026 NFL Draft. As the draft approaches, people often overlook the importance of those picks. However, it's worth remembering that some of the players' fans criticize the 49ers for selecting late might never have been drafted at all if those compensatory picks hadn't been available. So having those picks is a clear advantage. The 49ers received the maximum number of compensatory picks in the 2025 NFL Draft, 4. We'll go into more detail on those picks soon. In 2024, they also received the maximum of 5 compensatory picks. You'd have to go all the way back to 2018 to find the last time the 49ers didn't receive a single compensatory pick in a draft. Well, this info came from a respected author, according to Die. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to 49ers Zone and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the San Francisco 49ers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In a move that has left fans stunned and analysts scrambling for explanations, Brock Purdy has officially left the San Francisco 49ers and signed with a rival NFL team. The young quarterback, who just a season ago was hailed as the future of The franchise, after leading the 49ers for the lead of the 49ers to a deep playoff run, has now taken a path no one saw coming. Purdy's departure marks a dramatic twist in what had appeared to be a solid foundation for San Francisco. After stepping into the spotlight following injuries to Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo, Purdy quickly became a fan favorite and was seen as the heart of Kyle Shanahan's offensive system. His poise under pressure, accuracy, and unexpected maturity made him a key component of the team's success. However, behind the scenes, things were not as harmonious as they seemed. Reports suggest that contract negotiations had stalled over the last few months, and the 49ers front office was hesitant to commit long-term despite Purdy's breakout performances. There were also whispers of growing tension regarding the team's offensive direction and play-calling responsibilities. Purdy, eager to have more control and influence, began looking at other options, ones that would not only offer financial security, but also give him a leading voice in the offense. The final destination makes the story even more explosive. Purdy has signed with none other than the Seattle Seahawks, one of San Francisco's fiercest division rivals. The move has already sparked outrage among 49ers fans and jubilation in Seattle, where head coach Mike Macdonald is reportedly thrilled to bring in a quarterback with such promise and proven leadership. With Geno Smith nearing the end of his contract and questions about the long-term future at the position, the Seahawks wasted no time in sealing the deal. Purdy's arrival in Seattle could change the landscape of the NFC West for years to come. Meanwhile, the 49ers are left in search of a new quarterback and scrambling to explain how they let their young star walk away, straight into the arms of their most bitter rival. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the San Francisco 49ers, make sure to subscribe to 49ers Zone and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.